Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Kate, and today we are going to talk about what influences you, and then we're going to have a writing assignment at the end, okay? So, before we start, I want to apologize. I haven't been feeling the best, so if I stop to get some water, or I have to stop and take a second, I'm sorry. Bear with me, okay? So before we start, I have kind of like an overarching question that I really want you to think about, okay? And it is, do you think you influence other people? So I want you to think about that as we go through this entire lesson, okay? So before we start, or as we start, I'm going to start with a bubble map. And I'm going to put you in the middle. Now, I know that you're not here brainstorming with me, so I'm going to come up with what I would say my influences are, but I want you to think about what you could add to this bubble map, okay? So I put you in the middle. Right now, you is me, but if you were doing this, you would want to put you in the middle and then decide what influences you, okay? So the first thing that influences me is social media. Social media influences me every single day. It's always telling me and popping up with ads and ads and ads saying, you need to buy this new car or you need to buy this new phone in order to be happy. And that's just not true. Sometimes it even says, oh, look at this new thing from McDonald's that you need to go try right now. And it's going to make you so happy, it's going to taste so good, and all your problems are just going to float away, right? But we know that's just not true, right? That doesn't happen. So we would call that a negative influence, right? But social media also influences me in a positive way. Sometimes it'll pop up on my feed, it will have inspiration quotes for whatever reason. It might say something like, go achieve your dreams, or something about being productive or being yourself, right? So there are positive parts to social media, but we know there's also negative ones too. So it's up to me to decide what's positive and what's negative, and how can I weed out that negative stuff, right? So all I'm seeing is the positive. Does that make sense? And maybe social media doesn't influence you. That's okay. Like I said, I'm doing this for me. So I want you to think about what influences you. But social media definitely influences me. Okay, the next thing that influences me is my family. So I live with my family for 18 years. And it was just my mom, my dad, and me. I don't have any siblings, and we all just lived in a house. I would say my parents influenced me in a positive way 99% of the time. They were always so supportive of me and what I wanted to do with my life. I played sports all the time, and they were very supportive of me. They came to all my games and everything like that, so they were very supportive. But they also made sure that I had good nutrition too. We always had apples, bananas, oranges in our house at all times. So if I came home from school and I was hungry, I had a healthy snack. For meals, I always had fruits, vegetables, protein, bread, milk, all of that stuff for every meal, every single day. And so my parents did a really good job of making sure I had good nutrition. So they influenced me way back then. And then that also influences the decisions that I make today when I decide to eat, right? I'm still getting my fruits, vegetables, apples, oranges, bananas, all of that good stuff that makes me healthy. So I would say my family 99% of the time influences me in a positive way. The last influence I want to talk about in my life are my peers. My peers. And if you don't know who your peers are someone who is roughly the same age as you, and you're around them quite a bit of the time. So when I was in 5th grade, I was doing in-person learning, and I would say my peers were the people, my classmates basically. I saw them Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. all year long, except for the summer. And so those were the peers. Those were the people I were around every single day. And so for you, maybe it's your siblings, maybe you have friends. It can be anyone in your life who's roughly the same age as you and is around you a lot, okay? So your peers can have a positive and a negative influence on you as well. So positively, my friends used to say, hey, we have a math test tomorrow. We don't know what's going on. We need to sit down and study. So my friends and I, we would study for the test, right? Because we didn't want to fail it. And we just wanted to, study, get it out of the way so we could move on to the next thing, right? But your friends can also, your peers can also influence you in a negative way as well. So when they decide, oh, we don't want to study for that test, it doesn't matter that we don't know what's going on. We're not going to study for it. We're just going to fail it. It's fine. No big deal, right? That's not a good influence. That's a negative influence. Or maybe your friends say, hey, let's go to McDonald's for the 5th night in a row this week. Probably not the best influence, right? That's not a healthy choice. Maybe they decide, oh, let's go try this, let's go smoke. That's not a healthy choice either. They might say, oh, it's okay. Who cares what your parents say, or your teachers say, it's not that big a deal. You're not going to get addicted. We're just going to do it one time. No big deal. Those are bad influences from your peers, okay? So especially with your peers, I really want you to think, are they positive influences or are they negative influences? And the positive needs to outweigh the bad. Otherwise, you need to do something about it, right? We only want those positive influences in our life so that we can grow and be healthy, right? And when I talk about being healthy, I want to talk about our physical health, your mental health, and then your social and emotional health. So physical health, yes, that does include physically harming you. We'll include that in there, but that can also be nutrition and exercise as well, and eating well, making sure that you're getting your fruits, vegetables, protein, milk, all of that good stuff every single day. That's part of your physical health too, as well as getting 60 minutes of exercise every single day. For mental health, are they telling you encouraging things? So with social media, I talked about those inspirational quotes that pop up once in a while and make me feel really good about myself. That influences my mental health, right? Or it can also influence it negatively when it's saying, oh, if you don't have this new phone, then that's not okay. You need to have the new phone in order to be happy. So that influences me negatively because then it's like, well, I don't have that phone. So is something wrong with me if I don't have that phone? And no, nothing is wrong with you. That's just what social media does sometimes. It impacts us negatively because it makes you think that you need to have all these things in order to be happy. And that's just not true. Okay? And then the last one is social and emotional health. So is it telling you kind things? If it's your peers, are your peers being nice to you? Are they always building you up? Sometimes everyone has bad days. Things happen. Things go wrong. Maybe you got a bad grade on a test, or it was just one of those days where your day started out with spilled milk and then from there it just went downhill, right? Things happen. Are your peers there building you up and saying, it's okay, tomorrow will be better? Or are they there for you when you need them? That is social and emotional health. And then turn that around. Are you there for your friends when they're having bad days, right? It goes both ways, okay? So I only did 3 of these, but I want you to kind of think about what else you could add that influences you. Maybe social media doesn't influence you. What else can you put here that does influence you? Okay, I'm going to take another drink of water and I want you to think about that for just a minute. Okay, so we talked about these 3 things and how they influence us. And we talked about whether or not they're positive or negative, and how each of these can be positive and negative, right? They all have both aspects to them. So it's your job to decide, do the positives outweigh the negatives, or is it a bad influence on you? And if it's a bad influence on you, then we should probably get rid of it, right? Or try to do something about it so it turns into a positive influence. So for your assignment, we are going to have 3 paragraphs with 4 sentences each. And I know this looks like a lot, but I just kind of wrote it out for you to kind of help you understand what I'm looking for. So the first sentence of each paragraph is your influence. So off of your bubble chart, you are just going to pick one for the first paragraph. So you can pick one of these, or it can be one of the ones that you came up with on your own. There are many possibilities for what influences you. You just have to think about it. In your life, what influences the decisions that you make every single day, okay? These are mine. They might be the same. They might be different, okay? And then you're going to come up with 3 more sentences that support your influence. One of those sentences needs to tell me if it is positive or negative. So if you choose family, you need to tell me why you chose family, and then is it positive or negative. So for instance, if I picked my family, I would say that my family influences me because I live with them for 18 years, and they influence my nutrition because we always had apples, oranges, bananas all the time for me to eat whenever I was hungry. And so that influenced my healthy behaviors back then, and so now I have healthy behaviors when I'm 21 years old, right? So, sentence 1 is your influence. Sentence 2, you're going to tell me positive or negative. Sentence 3, you're going to tell me why they influence you, or why did you pick that influence. And then the last sentence is going to be what aspect of your life do they influence. So if I pick family, I could say my family influences my nutrition. That's the example I gave. I could also choose my family influences the clothes that I wear. My family, what else do they influence? They influence the things that I hold close to my heart, my beliefs and my values. And what I look for in a good friend, because that's what my parents taught me way back then. So you are going to pick 3 influences total from here. And then for each influence, you need to have 3 other sentences that support why you chose that influence, okay? One of them needs to be, is it positive or negative? What aspect of your life does it influence? And why you chose that influence, sorry. And when you do this, I am not grading on whether or not your influences are right or wrong. I will not say, oh, that is not an influence. I'm going to mark you off on that. I am grading on whether or not you have 3 paragraphs with 4 sentences in each one, okay? Also, I want you to use good writing skills, right? So capitalize the first letter of every sentence, use good punctuation, good grammar, good spelling, your best writing that you've ever written, okay? And that is all I have for you for your assessment. However, I do want to go back to that very first question that I asked. Do you think you influence other people? Okay, so at the bottom of after you've written all of this, at the very bottom, I want you to give me, let's see, we'll do 2 people that you influence and how you influence them. Okay, so it can be, oh, I influence my younger siblings, or I influence my friends, whoever you want to pick. I need 2 people, and how do you influence them? So you're going to take this, oops, sorry, that's backwards. You're going to take this and you're going to switch it around and think, okay, so we talked about how all of these things influence you, but how do you influence all of these things? I'm going to switch it around on you, okay? So just to go over this one more time, you need to have 3 paragraphs with 4 sentences in each one. Influence, and then is it positive or negative? What aspect of your life does it influence? And then why did you choose that influence? Influence, positive or negative aspect of life, why did you choose it? Influence, positive or negative aspect of life, why did you choose it? And then down here at the bottom, 2 people that you influence and why you think or like how do you influence them? Okay? All right, thank you. Have a good day.